Doing what?
Weeping for Tammuz.
They said women weeping for Tammuz, man. Right, so this all goes back into idolatry. So Israel was caught up in that even during the Babylonian times, right? During the time of Jeremiah and Ezekiel. Read on.
And then he said unto me, hast thou seen this, O son of man? Turn thee yet again, and thou shalt see greater abominations.
Thou shalt see greater abominations. Right? An abomination is a thing of hate and disgust unto the Lord thy God. That's what an abomination is. So the Lord hates this filthy act that these people are caught up in. Read on.
And he brought me into the inner court of the Lord's house. And behold, at the door of the temple, and the Lord's between the porch and the altar, were about 25 men, with their backs toward the temple of the Lord.
With their what?
Backs toward the temple of the Lord.
They said they had their backs toward the temple of the Lord. Read on.
And their faces toward the east.
And their faces toward the east. Read on.
And they worshiped the sun toward the east.
They did what?
Worship the sun toward the east.
They was worshiping the sun toward the east. Right, so that's what men caught up into, man. When you go to Sunday church, you're kind of shucking and jiving. You worshiping the sun toward the east, because that goes into sun worship. Come on, let's finish reading on that.
Verse 17. Then he said unto me, hast thou seen this, O son of man? It is a light thing to the house of Judah, that they commit the abominations which they commit here. For they have filled the land with violence, and have returned to provoke me to anger. And lo, they put the branch to their nose.
They do what?
Put the branch to their nose.
That's talking about smoking, man. Because Israel was caught up in that. They was caught up in sun worship and smoking weed. Hey, don't think Israel wasn't doing that during the ancient times, man. Right? These niggas had on their long garments, right? They kind of out there in front of the temple, rolling up and smoking weed, man. Getting high. Letting them spirits come into them. That's what it is. It's a ritual. Right? It alters your so-called state of mind.
That's right.
Right? And Christmas is wicked according to God, man. And we have to bring it out, thus saith the Lord. Right? You got to come out of that damn idolatry, man. And come back into the living power whose name is Yahweh Shema Mashiach Yahweh Shah. As it states in the book of Jonah, chapter 1, verse 9. Bring it out, brother.
This is the book of Wisdom of Solomon, chapter 14, and verse, I'm going to start off at 11. Therefore, even upon the idols of the Gentiles should there be a visitation.
Should there be a what?
Shall there be a visitation? Because in the creature of Yahweh, they are become abomination and stumbling blocks to the souls of men, and a snare to the feet of the unwise. For the devising of idols,
meaning the creation of these idols, read on,
was the beginning of spiritual fornication.
And that's the beginning of spiritual fornication, right? When you begin to sin against the Most High. Read on.
And the invention of them, the corruption of life.
That's the corruption of life, man. Right? Now bring out Zephaniah chapter 1 and verse 4. You bring out Jeremiah chapter 7 verse 30.
Book of Zephaniah chapter 1 and verse 4. I will also stretch out my hand upon Judah and upon all the inhabitants of Jerusalem.
Read on.
And I will cut off the remnant of Baal.
I will do what?
Cut off the remnant of Baal.
The Lord said he's going to cut off the remnant of Baal. Right? All you damn Baal worshipers, all you Satan worshipers, the Lord going to do away with you.
That's right.
Right? I believe that Jehu did away with these Baal worshipers, man. Bring it out.
From this place, in the name of the Chemarims with the priests, and them that worship the host of heaven upon the housetops, and them that worship and that swear by the Lord, and that swear by Malcham, and them that are turned back from the Lord, and those that have not sought the Lord, nor inquired for him.
Right. Now go to verse 14. Bring that out real quick.
Bring it out. Jeremiah 7 and 30. For the children of Judah have done evil in my sight, said the Lord. They have set their abominations in the house which is called by my name, to pollute it.
To do what?
To pollute it. And they have built the high places of Tophet.
The high places of Tophet, man. Meaning Israelites was going into artificial places of worship, man. Worshiping these different gods. Read on. They was doing this in the temple, by the way. Bring it up.
Which is in the valley of the son of Hinnom.
Right, read on.
To burn their sons and their daughters in the fire.
You gotta be bugged the hell out your mind to burn your son and your daughters in the fire, man. Just imagine that, right? You got a little infant baby suckling that look just like you, but you give it onto Molech, right? You burn it onto Molech. Bring it out.
Which I commanded them not, neither came it into my heart
Lord didn't command us to do these things. When you read Leviticus, the 20th chapter, the Lord said do the exact opposite. But Israel, you know, they a rebellious nation, as it states in Deuteronomy chapter 9, verse 24, and Baruch chapter 1, verse 19. Read on.
Therefore, behold, the days come, said the Lord, that it shall no more be called Tophet, nor the valley of the son of Hinnom, but the valley of slaughter.
What the what?
But the valley of slaughter. For they shall bury Tophet till there be no place. And their carcasses of this people shall be meat for the fowls.
Shall be what?
Shall be meat for the fowls of the heaven.
It goes back to the curses of Deuteronomy, the 28th chapter. Right? So the Lord is going to judge our wicked people that's caught up into idolatry, brother. So you got to stop celebrating Christmas, brother. You see that? So no more Christmas, King. You got to repent from that. So you cannot celebrate Christmas this year. Thus saith the Lord.
Right?
Give me the book of Jeremiah, chapter 2, verse 11.
No Kwanzaa.
No Kwanzaa, because that's a fake me out Hanukkah, man.
Right.
Right? You will read about, give me John chapter 10, verse 22, because we approaching these times, right? The Feast of Dedications. Israel, you got to learn about the Feast of Dedications, man. John chapter 10, verse 22. Give me 1 Maccabees chapter 4, verse 41.
Bring it out.
Bring it up.
Jeremiah 2 and 11.
Bring it out.
Hath a nation changed their gods, which are yet no gods? But my people have changed their glory for that which doth not profit.
That which doth not profit. Because worshiping these different gods not going to profit you, man. You're just going to still be oppressed here in America, right? You still going to get shot down by the so-called white man, right? Your women still going to be damn harlots in the street, and your men going to be damn niggas and whoremongers, man. Because you worshiping these different gods that cannot profit you. Now bring that out, brother.
This is the book of John, chapter 10 and verse 22. And it was at Jerusalem, the feast of the dedication. And it was winter.
And it was what?
And it was winter.
So the feast of dedication is spoke about in 1 Maccabees. Let's get the history of it. Bring it out, brother. And give me Daniel chapter 8, verse 13. 1 Maccabees chapter 4 and verse 41. Matter of fact, let's bring out Daniel chapter 8, verse 13 first.
The book of Daniel, chapter 8 and verse 13.
it out.
Then I heard one saint speaking, and another saint said unto that certain saint which spake, how long shall be division concerning the daily sacrifice and the transgression of desolation, to give both the sanctuary and the host to be trodden underfoot? And he said unto me, unto 2,300 days.
So 2,300 days, which goes into 6.5 years, right? The time in which the Greeks defiled the sanctuary up until the time it was cleansed by the Maccabees. Read on.
Then shall the sanctuary be cleansed.
It shall what?
The sanctuary be
Right,
cleansed.
because you're going to read about the Maccabees brothers cleansing the sanctuary, right? And recovering the sanctuary from the Greeks. Right? You got to read 1 Maccabees and 2 Maccabees, Israel. The scriptures say, blessed is he that readeth in the book of Revelation chapter 1 and verse 3. 1 Timothy chapter 4 verse 13. Isaiah chapter 34 verse 16. 2 Timothy chapter 2 verse 15. Proverbs chapter 15 verse 28. So on and so forth, man. You got to read. Thus saith the Lord. Bring that out.
This is the book of 1 Maccabees, chapter 4, verse 41. It reads, then Judas appointed certain men to fight against those that were in the fortress until we had cleansed the sanctuary.
You got to know who Judas is. Give me the book of 1 Maccabees chapter 3 and verse 5. Let him get that. 1 Maccabees chapter 3 verse 5. Because you got to know about your forefathers being mighty men in the scriptures, man. You got to read about Gideon, right? You got to read about Moses, David, Jehu, Asa, so on and so forth. Read on.
The book of 1 Maccabees, chapter 3 and verse 5.
Bring it out!
For he pursued the wicked.
He did what?
Pursued the wicked.
He did what?
Pursued the
This is
wicked.
going into Judas Maccabees. For he pursued the wicked. Read on.
And sought them out. And burnt up those that vexed his people.
He did what?
Burnt up those that vexed his people.
So he was burning men alive. That's our forefathers in the scriptures, man. They wasn't nice guys. They want to sit down and have a cupcake with you, and they kind of drinking coffee, and they just mellow guys, and they weren't just mellow guys, man. They were madmen in righteousness. They were psychopaths in righteousness, man. Right? And the tension was hot between the Israelites and the Greeks, man. It was on sight. If you seen a Greek, you was putting him to death. If a Greek seen you, he was coming to chop your damn neck off, man. So that's how hot the tension was between Israel and the Greeks. The Lord said he's going to put enmity between thee and the woman, between the Israelites and the Edomites. So we always been beefing with each other throughout history. Bring it out, brother.
Wherefore the wicked shrunk for fear of him.
They did what?
the wicked shrunk for fear of him.
It said they shrunk for fear of Judas Maccabees. So he was a man to be feared. Read on.
And all the workers of iniquity were troubled.
They were what?
Troubled.
They were what?
Troubled.
Read on.
Because salvation prospered in his hand.
It said salvation prospered in his hand. He couldn't lose. You don't want to beef with a man that can't lose. He's undefeated, man.
Judas was actually low-key David, man.
Yeah, low key.
Yeah, low-key, man. You didn't want to mess with Judas, man. Damn.
Set man alive.
He was killing, man. He had so much blood, man. Righteously.
Righteously, man.
Damn.
He was a killer. Bring it up.
He grieved also many kings.
Yeah, what?
Grieved also many
He
kings.
said he grieved many kings, man. When they heard about Judas Maccabees, they kind of cried, man. They kind of crying on each other's shoulder, like they crying, they in sorrow, they weeping,
Cracking on themselves.
they shitting on themselves, they peeing on themselves, they bugging the hell out, they drinking baby blood, they popping animals. That's what Esau do, man. To receive power from the spiritual David Satan. But all that wasn't working, man. You're reading about the Greeks, man. They was wicked as hell when you read First Maccabees. Right? They was hanging out babies from they was hanging out infant sucklers. Right? They was killing the women that circumcised the children, throwing them off cliffs, killing out people that did eat swine's flesh. Man, death to the so-called white man. Bring it out, bro.
That's right.
And made
So you damn right Judas Maccabees was burning them the hell up, man. And catching them on sight.
That's right.
And he was killing their babies, man. That's not gonna go into actual details, but come on now. It was on sight. Bring it out.
and made Jacob glad with his axe.
He did what?
Made Jacob glad with his axe.
Israel loved him, man. He made Jacob glad with his axe. Read on.
And his memorial was blessed forever.
His what?
His memorial was blessed forever.
That's why we still talking about him to this day. Because his memorial is blessed forever. Amen.
That's right.
And bring out 1 Maccabees 4:41.
This is the book of 1 Maccabees, chapter 4, verse 41.
So, Lockie, they're not going to teach you about Judas Maccabees and Esau school systems. They're going to teach you about Thomas Jefferson, George Washington, Abraham Lincoln, Alexander the Freak, Julius Caesar, man. They say they were mighty, they were courageous and brave. Man, death to these wicked-ass Edomites, man. Bring it out, brother.
This is the book of 1 Maccabees, chapter 4, verse 41. Then Judas appointed certain men to fight against those that were in the fortress until he had cleansed the sanctuary. So he chose priests of blameless conversation.
You got to be a blameless conversation, man. To be dealing with the Lord, to be dealing with the sanctuary, you got to be a blameless conversation. Read on.
Such as had pleasure in the law.
You have to have pleasure in the law, statutes, and commandments. Right? Brothers kind of bringing out precepts, you kind of grieve. Right? You don't want to watch the videos, you're not studying. Right? Read on.
Verse 43, who cleansed the sanctuary and bear out the defiled stones into an unclean place. And when as they consulted what to do with the altar of burnt offerings, which was profaned, they thought it was best to pull it down.
What?
They thought it was best to pull it down.
Give me 1 Maccabees, I believe it's chapter 1 and verse 34. The whole 1 Maccabees, the first chapter, Israel, you have to read that, man. That's why I say just read the whole book of Maccabees and bring that up. Because it's deep history, but it's chapter after chapter. We can't be out here reading all these chapters, man. So Israel, you got to go home and read that. Right, so was Jonathan. Right, all our forefathers. Bring it out, brother.
1 Maccabees, chapter 4, verse 45. They thought it best to pull it down, lest it should be a reproach to them.
Right, because you're going to read about these damn Greeks. They was dallying with harlots in the sanctuary, right? They was sacrificing on pigs' flesh on the altars, in the temples. They was doing all manner of wickedness, man. They was having sexual relations in the temple, drunken orgies, just all manner of wickedness, homosexuality in the temple, man.
Because the heathen had defiled it, wherefore they pulled it down and laid up the stones in the mountain of the temple in a convenient place until there should come a prophet to show what should be done with them. Then they took whole stones according to the law and built a new altar according to the former, and made up the sanctuary and the things that were within the temple and hollowed the courts. They made also new holy vessels, and into the temple they brought the candlestick and the altar of burnt offerings.
They brought the candlestick, which is the menorah.
Menorah.
Give me the book of Revelation, chapter 1 and verse 20.
Bring it out.
All right?
And of incense in the table.
Con. There's more on that.
Con.
Let's go ahead and precept that up with Revelations 1 and 20. Con.
The book of Revelation, chapter 1 and verse 20. The mystery of the 7 stars, which thou sawest in the right hand, and the 7 golden candlesticks. The 7 stars are the angels of the 7 churches. And the 7 candlesticks, which thou sawest, are the 7 churches.
Right, so the 7 candlesticks goes into the menorah.
That's right.
Con, scoot down, brothers. Scoot down.
Scoot down, scoot down.
Scoot down. All right, got another one. Bring it up.
The book of Revelation, chapter 4 and verse 5. And out of the throne proceeding lightnings and thunderings and voices. And there were 7 lamps of fire burning before the throne, which are the 7 spirits of the Most High.
That's right. And 7 is a spiritual number, which simply means completion.
That's right.
Right, that's the number that the Most High deals with, 7, man. Right? Now bring out that. So we read First Maccabees about the Feast of Dedications and where it derives from. It goes into us regaining control of the sanctuary and the temple. Cleansing the sanctuary and the temple.
That's right.
Decking it in righteousness.
That's right.
We weren't decking the halls with miles of folly. Right? We weren't putting the star on top of the Christmas tree. Right? We weren't putting gold and silver on the phallic symbol. No, man. We was decking the sanctuary and the temple in righteousness.
Right.
Because of the Greeks' defilement of the sanctuary and the temple.
That's right.
Bring it out, brother.
That's right.
First Maccabees chapter 4 verse 50. It reads, and upon the altar they burned incense, and the lamps that were upon the
They
candlestick.
burnt incense, man. Sweet smelling incense, brother.
Sweet savior.
Right? Imagine how when the Greeks had control of the sanctuary, it stunk, right? All kind of fumes, right? Smell like men, sweat, harlots.
It was a place of exercise.
It was a place
It
of
was used-
exercise. This is crazy, man. You're kind of sweating all in the temple, right? These Greeks,
Puffing and puffing.
yeah,
while they were
man.
doing their homosexuality.
Yeah, these Greeks, they would work out in nudism, kind of work out butt naked, right?
Yeah, it says that they were doing it naked. First Maccabees, the first chapter.
Also, the Israelites was getting down with the Greeks as well, man. We read First Maccabees chapter 1 and verse 11.
Yeah, wicked men out of Israel.
Wicked men out of Israel. They say they trained up the children in the customs of the heathen in 2 Maccabees chapter 4 verse
In
9.
fact, they went to the heathen, asked them what they had to do the license to do what they did. They went to them.
That's-
Damn.
Got a point, brother?
And they was all musty in the altar, sneezing on the altar.
One scripture, brother. You an Israelite, brother. Yeah, you an Israelite. God chose the people. You got to repent, keep the commandments.
That's right.
That's why all those college fraternities be doing them.
What you doing, brother? Bring it out, man. Let's see what the lesson, brother.
Edomites.
Right? Bring it out.
Verse 50, First Maccabees 4:50. And upon the altar they burnt incense, and the lamps that were upon the candlestick they lighted.
They did what?
They lighted.
They did what?
They lighted.
You gotta light the lamps, light the menorah during the Feast of Dedication.
That's right.
Right? All these 8 days you have to light the menorah.
That's right.
Read on.
That they might give light in the temple.
That they might do what?
That they might get light in the temple.
You gotta picture this, man. You can't just read it and kind of it's going in one ear and out the other, and you're kind of overlooking it and you're stumbling upon it. You gotta actually think about these things, man.
That's right.
Right? They gain control of the sanctuary. They decking it. It's clean.
Yep. They
right?
cleansed it.
Yeah, they cleansed it. It's I believe it tell you they cleansed it with nitre, right, and all kinds of things. They was actually in there scrubbing, man.
Yep.
Right, working.
Gotta get all that filth.
Gotta get all that filth
abomination.
out, man. All that abomination.
Yep.
And they gotta cleanse it spiritually. That's why they lit the menorah.
Lord, that sweet savor.
That sweet savor. Everything is spiritual, man.
That's right.
Right, your house can't be damn stinking, smelling like damn garbage. Hey, man, you gotta come to the Lord clean, man.
That's right.
That's what they say in the world. Cleanliness is next to godliness, man. So the Lord deals with a clean man.
That's right.
Bring it out, brother.
Verse 51. First Maccabees 4:51. Furthermore, they set the loaves upon the table and spread out the veils and finished all the works which they had begun to make. Now on the 25th day of the 9th month, which is called the month of Caslow, in the 148th year.
And the month of Caslow is December.
That's right.
Right, so the Feast of Dedication falls in December. December 10th this year, and specifically.
That's right.
December 10th at sundown. Okay, read on.
Verse 52. Now,
Salaki, you gotta know the months in this thing, Israel. You kind of reading this Cashlu and the Dar and the Bib, and it's going over your head. You gotta know these things according to the Bible. The Lord said, measure the times diligently.
that's right.
Bring it out, brother.
First Maccabees chapter 4, verse 52. Now on the 25th day of the 9th month, which is called the month of Caslu, in the 148th year, they rose up betimes in the morning and offered sacrifice according to the law upon the new altar of burnt offerings, which they had made. Look at what time and what day the heathen had profaned it.
Right, they profaned it in 171 BC. Read on.
Even in that was it dedicated with songs and cisterns and harps and cymbals.
Right, and we regained control of the sanctuary in 165 BC. So that's about 6.5 years. And that's that 2,300 days spoken about in Daniel chapter 8, verse 13. Bring it out, bro.
Verse 55. Then all the people fell upon their faces, worshiping and praising Yahweh of heaven, who had given them good success. And so they kept the dedication of the altar 8 days and offered burnt offerings with gladness and sacrificed the sacrifice of deliverance and praise. They decked also the forefront of the temple with crowns of gold and with shields and the gates and the chambers. They renewed and hanged doors upon them. Thus was there very great gladness among the people, for that the reproach of the heathen was put away. Moreover, Judas and his brethren with the whole congregation of Israel ordained that the days of the dedication of the altar should be kept in their season from year to year.
From what?
From year to year.
Say these men ordained that this day be kept year to year. Because you're not going to specifically read about Feast of Dedications in Leviticus, the 23rd chapter. But we still have to keep it because Yahweh Shah kept it in John chapter 10, verse 22. Read on.
Slakia.
We went.
Verse 59.
Come. Rest there. Okay. Keep reading.
Moreover, Judas and his brethren with the whole congregation of Israel ordained that the days of the dedication of the altar should be kept in their season from year to year by the space of 8 days.
By the space of 8 days, read on.
From the 25th day of the month of Caslu with mirth and gladness.
What?
With mirth and gladness.
What?
With mirth and
You
gladness.
say the 5 and 20th day, man.
That's right.
Right, which goes into the 25th, right?
In 8 days, like the Feast of Tabernacles.
Right, so, hey man, that's also where Esau get this whole Christmas thing from, right? Celebrating Christmas, he kind of decking the tree on the first day of Christmas, yeah, on the second day of Christmas, and I think they named 8 days, man, if I'm not mistaken.
It's actually 12.
Oh, 12?
They're
Okay.
gonna get that. They're gonna get that 12 from the 12 tribes of Israel.
see that?
And the 12th day of Christmas, my true love gave to me, and the true love is Yahweh.
Yeah,
But they're gonna put it in, that Babylonian custom, that they profane everything.
that's right. You had a question, brother? You had a question?
Like the calendar system, is different than obviously the calendar system we got here in America, right? Like the Hebrews, the calendar system and everything.
Well, it's 12 months in the Hebrew calendar, right? Esau get that 12-month thing from the Israelites.
Then they just do their own version and fucking stole it.
Yeah, the days.
Well, you got a point, brother?
I got 2 precepts.
Come on, bring it out.
1 Kings 4 and 7. And then you can jump down to 27.
Come on.
This is the book of 1 Kings, chapter 4. You said 27 King?
Verse 7 first.
7. This is 1 Kings, chapter 4, and verse 7.
Bring it out.
And it reads, and Solomon had 12 officers over all Israel, which provided victuals for the king and his household. Each man his month and a year made provision. And these are their names, the son of Hur.
Oh, it's like that's it. So you had 12 men going, providing victuals and things of that nature. 12 months.
Each
right?
man his month and a year made provision.
Right. Each man his month. And then we jump down to
That's a good
27.
precept. Verse 27. And it reads, and those officers provided victual for King Solomon, and for all that came unto King Solomon's table, every man in his month. They lacked nothing.
That's the
Come, that's a good precept.
12 months.
That's a good precept.
Come on, Rotters, I got a precept. Bring that up.
The book of 1 Chronicles, chapter 27 and verse 15. The 12th captain for the 12th month was Heldai, the Nephitite of Uphnau, and his course were 20 and 4,000.
You gotta keep going down. Is it?
Furthermore, over the tribes of Israel, the ruler of the Reubenites was Eleazar, the son of Zikri, of the Simeonites, and Shephatath, the son of Ma'ach, of the Levites, Hashabiah, the son of Chemi, and of the Aaronites, Zadok, and of Judah, Elihu, one of the brethren of David, of Issachar, Omri, the son of Michael, and of Zebulun, Ishmaiah, the son of Obadiah, and of Naphtali, Jeremoth, the son of Ezrael, and of the children of Ephraim, Hosea, the son of Ahaziah, of the half-tribe of Manasseh, Joel, the son of Pedaiah, of the half-tribe of Manasseh and Galilee, Edo, and the son of Zechariah, of Benjamin, Josiah, the son of Abner, and of Dan, Azriel, the son of Jeroham.
And so, like, the point is, it's all 12 for completion, right? For the months. It never exceeds 12. It's always, 12. You're not going to see in the 13th month of the second year. It's always 12.
12. They got that from
They got that from the scriptures, man.
February, March, April, May. Their own words in there.
Well, those are Greek gods, right? February, March, right? All these things, Greek and Roman gods. So that's why we don't go into that, right?
Even the days, the weekends, you got Saturday, Sunday, Tuesday, Monday. That's all Roman Greek.
Yeah, Roman Greek. Right? Saturday goes into Saturn's Day. Sunday is sun worship. Monday is moon worship. Right? Tuesday is Tuos Day, which was a Roman goddess.
The extension of the Roman Empire.
Yeah.
That's because that's where they got all the infrastructure, the days, everything they got is an extension of the Roman Empire.
That's right. Give me that Ezekiel chapter 16, verse 44. I'm going to pass it to the next mighty brother. Ezekiel 16 and 44. And it's also Revelation chapter 17, verse 9. Bring that up. Revelation 17 and 9. Ezekiel 16.
This is the book of Ezekiel chapter 16 and verse 44. And it reads, "Behold, everyone that useth proverbs shall use this proverb against thee, saying, as in the mother, or so is her daughter."
So as the mother is, so is her daughter.
Daughter of Babylon.
Right, the daughter of Babylon.
That's right.
And then bring that up.
The book of Revelation, chapter 17 and verse 9. And here is the mind which hath wisdom.
No, that's not what I want. The beast that was and is not. Revelations. You can't find it, it's cool. Right? But the point is, man, America is an extension of Rome.
Ezekiel 16:44.
All right? So I'm going to go ahead and pass this to the next brother. All praises unto Yahweh.